Summer pudding. We used to call it the grease pudding when we made this at Buckingham Palace. Every time it was on the menu, one of the chefs would be walking around the kitchen singing, "Summer pudding had me a blast. Summer pudding happened so fast." Okay, on with the cooking. In the Q&A, I was asked what was my favorite dessert, and I mentioned the summer pudding. A dessert that never gets old? What about an English summer pudding? I need to do a video on that. It's so good, and for this time of year, amazing. And I've been asked if I would make a summer pudding for you. Summer pudding is just a gorgeous old-fashioned English dessert, and it comes out in the summer. It showcases British fruit. The fruit season starts around June in the UK, and this is just a tremendous, glorious way of just showcasing that British summer fruit. It's a simple dish to make because it's all about the ingredients. Gorgeous English strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, fresh raspberries, and cherries. You can add red currants and black currants in there too, if and when they're available. Then a little sugar and some bread. It's a favorite of health spas in and around the 1800s because the bread was a substitute for the butter and lard rich pastry when it came to a pie. So into the pan, I'm going to start off with what we call my heavy fruit, the cherries. The cherries are going to take a little bit longer to cook, so they go in first along with the sugar. Now you can make it super healthy if you want to by leaving out the sugar altogether and just having, the sweetness of the fruit in there. But a little sugar in there makes this dish amazing. Once the cherries start to soften and the sugar dissolves, then I'm going to add the strawberries. Once the strawberries start to soften, then I can add the blackberries too. You can see I've put no water in there whatsoever. All that liquid is coming from the sugar and from the berries itself. So all delicious ingredients. I'm going to cook that and let that simmer away. And while it's simmering away, I'm going to do the bread casing. Historically, the summer pudding was made just using raspberries and red currants. But nowadays we add all of those delicious berries that we've got in season. So now I can add my blueberries in there. And then right at the last minute, so that they don't mush up, I'm going to add in the raspberries. We make the summer pudding in a pudding basin, an English pudding basin. And you may recognize this dish. I put a link to it below in the description if you want to order one. You can use any shaped bowl, but it's traditionally made in this dome-shaped bowl. You may recognize it from when we do the figgy pudding, the English Christmas pudding, when it's turned out like this. The sticky toffee pudding, the steamed syrup sponge, the suet sponges, they're all made in this dish and they're great for steaming and they go in the microwave. It's a versatile bowl, so I have several of these in my kitchen. The bread's important too. The bread is the casing on there. Without the bread, we just have a little compote of fruit. So the bread needs to be nice and firm and dry. When we take the bread, we'll start off cutting the crusts. And so I'll cut here. And then I'm going to cut on an angle because we're making like a jigsaw puzzle that goes into this pudding basin. So you can see we get a little flower pot. And then we need to save one piece because we're going to cut a circle that goes into the bottom of that dish. The rest we'll cut to make the sides, and we'll save two pieces for they'll be for the bottom of the bowl. Take the crusts off and there you go, like that. So a nice firm bread. Don't buy that cheap nasty light bread. It just goes all soggy and mushy. We don't use sourdough because it won't absorb the liquid. And whole wheat bread, don't get me started on that. That's just nasty. So a nice white firm bread is what we're looking for. Finally, as the fruit started to soften, I can now add the raspberries. Just give them a little stir, turn off the heat, because we don't want them to mush up. The heat from the sauce will cook the berries a little bit and soften them to go in the pudding. The raspberries have started to soften in there. We're going to strain off the juice now, but I need to add a little of my secret ingredient, vanilla bean paste. A little drizzle of vanilla bean paste. We don't use vanilla extract anymore. In England, we use vanilla extract for stripping paper off the walls. It's nasty, all those additives and preservatives. Vanilla paste is just absolutely gorgeous. You can see the little Madagascan vanilla bean seeds in there. And we use it in our regular cooking, making creme brulees, making any sort of dish that we need vanilla in. Even a little in the coffee in the morning. If we come in close, you can actually see the little vanilla seeds in there. You can buy this at your local grocery store, but if you're having trouble finding it, again, I've put a link in the description below. Fold in the vanilla and now strain. And let all those juices run off. It's those juices that we want to line the mold. So now we can take the bread, the circle, dip it into the juices and lay it into the bottom of the bowl. Then we take the first piece and go around the side and start making our jigsaw puzzle. I'm just overlapping and pressing as I push this in. And then the last one, just lift that piece back and tuck it under so it looks pretty. Then I can take my berries and spoon them into the middle and over the bread. And push them down firm. Then the topping. You may have some fruit left, but just refrigerate it. Serve it in the morning for breakfast, a little muesli, a little yogurt. It's absolutely gorgeous. Next, it goes into the refrigerator to set up and allow all of those juices to soak into the bread. But first, we have to take something like a little saucer and put over the top and then onto a tray. And we just press down. A little weight, a jar of anything on the top that holds it down. And it's going to go in either overnight or for about 6 hours. The juice that I've got left over, I'm going to pour into a jug and refrigerate. And when I turn the pudding out, I can pour this over the top. It will look amazing. It's been in the refrigerator for 6 hours now, and it's been pressing down nice and firm, so be careful lifting that lid off. What you have to do is ease around the edge carefully with a spatula. And then just down the sides and ease it away from the basin. The next part is the nerve-wracking part. Imagine making this for the Queen. You get to this stage, you're about to serve lunch and it all collapses. Put the plate inverted over the pudding, turn it upside down, give it a little shake, and then carefully lift the mold. The Queen and members of the royal family would pick berries all through the summer out of the cages in the gardens at Balmoral Castle, and the berries would come up to the kitchen, and summer pudding would be on the menu so often. All that's left to do is a drizzle of the syrup that's been in the refrigerator. A little mint garnish on the top, and off to the royal dining room. All we have to do now is taste it, cutting into these delicious berries through this softened bread as we spoon it out onto the plate. Look at those gorgeous berries in there. And finally, a little cream poured over the top. You can have ice cream on there if you want to, whipped cream, but the cream running into all that juice just makes it absolutely incredible. It takes almost no time to make, but has to be refrigerated for at least 6 hours or overnight. You can make it in the morning, have some fun in the sun, and be ready to wow your family and friends at dinner with this gorgeous dessert. English summer pudding. Thank you for watching the video. Subscribe to my channel below. Leave a comment. See you again soon.